Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be taking a look at the SMS Metallic Series paints. A little bit of background on SMS paints. It is an Australian company started by a man named Scott Taylor, and they make these premium lacquer paints that are formulated to be airbrushed straight out of the bottle. Now that is very intriguing. This will be the first time that I've ever actually used pre-thinned, already airbrush ready paints, so that'll be a first for me. And I plan on using these colors on the inner frame for the real grade Sazabi that I want to do later on. First off, I want to talk about the appearance of these paints. I really like the fact that you can see into the bottle, of course. They don't really hide anything, and for a metallic paint, you can see all the little metal flakes in there, and that's how these kind of work. Is all the thinner and everything, as these sit, the solids in it will set at the bottom. So to actually, you don't have to shake these really, but you just have to kind of dip them like this to get the sediment at the bottom to mix in with the rest of this before spraying. I really am a fan of the labels that he makes. They're not too loud, they're not too much, and they're pretty simple in the design, which I'm a fan of, because, you know, if you get caught up in too much flashiness on your labeling, it takes away from the important part, which is the paints. You know, let the paints speak for themselves. Before moving over to the spray booth, as I normally do, I need to go over the PPE and precautions needed to take when spraying these paints. These are a lacquer paint, therefore it is hazardous to the lungs. So you will need your nitrile gloves and your respirator. Once again, please always wear a respirator when using lacquer paints, whether it be outside or inside, and make sure that you have proper ventilation. In my case, I have a booth that is routed out the window. I use my respirator, so please take care of your lungs and take care of your health. Starting off, I do want to state that I sprayed these at 20 psi, which is at the higher end of the recommended psi to spray these paints. As I spray all of my other lacquer paints at 20 psi, I kind of wanted to go into it treating it like I would any of the other ones that I spray, that I get good results out of. And as you'll see, I did get very good results out of 20 psi, but the recommended is 15 psi. now that I have sprayed these spoons, we can start the review. We have aluminum, steel, and copper. And just for demonstration purposes, I have actually left one just over black primer, one over black primer with matte finish, and one over black primer with gloss finish. In my experience, gloss over top of metallics really brings out the metallic nature of the paint, but I wanted to show all arrays of it so there was no questions on what it would look like. First, let's take a look at the aluminum. First, we'll start off with the just coated right over the primer, and as you can see, it's got a very nice metallic nature to it. You can see the flakes in there. It's very smooth to the touch, and so it laid down very smooth, very easy, and it keeps that metallic shine like it should. Now in this one, it's very hard to tell the difference between the standard spray and the matte finish. In person, it's a little bit better, but on camera, it's kind of hard to tell, but it did luster it down, but due to the nature of the color, I think had a lot to do with that. So even at matte, it still looks great, which is not a bad thing. And then we have the clear coated, and as you can see, you can already tell that the metallic nature is coming through way deeper. So if you're going to spray these, I highly suggest putting gloss over top of it. It really does just bring it to life. Next, we will review the steel. Now, this one, I ended up kind of liking this one the best. This is just straight over primer with nothing over top of it. And I don't know why I like this one, with, you know, out any kind of gloss coat or anything over it, but I do. It's a very natural looking steel in my opinion. Very dark, good for an inner frame, for any gunpla, and once again, smooth to the touch, very easy to spray. Like I said, I even sprayed these at higher PSI than I should have, and they came out great, so that's something to be said about that. And here we have the matte finish, which you can clearly see on this one. This one really did do a good job at getting a different tone to it. And it turns almost into like a granite or a graphite color, which if you needed to use, that would be the way to do it. Use this color, put some matte finish over top of it, and there you go. And then we have the gloss coated one. And as you can see, it really does bring out the metallic nature of it. You can see all the little glitter pieces in there. It's nice, smooth. And in my opinion, brings it out a whole lot more. Now, like I said, for some reason, I really like this, but gloss really does make a good difference. And finally, we get to the copper, which out of the three colors was my favorite color. It is very, very pretty in my opinion. And here we can see just straight with no topping on it, no clear coat at all. And this one was the glossiest, if that's a word, over all of these, just standard. It has a very nice shine to it, and you can see all the little fine copper material inside that paint. Gives it a very neat copper tone. Next, we have the matte finish, which, just like the previous one, you can definitely see the difference. This gives it maybe like an earthy feel to me. It's not rough at all, but it looks textured, and I think that's really neat. It's a neat effect that you can get out of putting a matte finish over this copper paint. And now we come to my favorite, which is the copper with the gloss coat over it. And it really does look like copper, which is the whole point of the copper paint. It's very pretty, and as you can tell, the gloss coat really does do wonders, even above the standard sprayed. It's a deeper, richer color, and it really brings out that metallic shine in the paint. So that concludes my review of the SMS metallic paints. If you're looking for a paint that is pre-thinned in the bottle, you don't have to do any extra thinning on, and that sprays very nice and has a very nice finish at the end, these are the paints for you. They were very easy to work with, and the convenience of having no waste is very good. You put it in the cup, you spray, and when you're done, you just put it right back in the bottle and you can use it for later. There's no waste. So if you want to get your hands on these paints, like I said before in the description below, you can get them at usagundamstore.com, or you can get them at scalemodeler.com.au directly. Now, there will be international shipping involved with that, but if you live in the States, they do have a partnership with USA Gundam Store. Thank you everyone for watching this review on the SMS paints. Like and subscribe would be appreciated if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.